This is from the OK Storytime subreddit. Am I right in wanting a no contact order from my mother-in-law? Trigger warning: miscarriage, harassment, and sewer slide? No idea what that is. This is a long one, sorry, but it relates and I don't want to leave anything out. I, 27 female, and my husband, 26 male, have been together since December of 23. We met at work, and I had thought he was much older than me with a wife and at least one kid. To my surprise, he was younger and had not experienced at all in dating. I fell in love first, I'll admit that. I knew I wanted to be with him for the rest of my life. He helped me move into my new place in November, and by December, we were officially a couple. I met his entire extended family by Christmas, and I enjoyed everyone. I got along with them all, and there were no issues. I personally lost my mom at 16 from sewer slide. If you know, you know. I don't know. And was always hoping to have a good relationship with my future partner's mom. I thought I'd found that in mother-in-law, 56 female. She was eccentric with her ideas of medicinal plants that she didn't know how to use, and collections of, plainly put, junk. Either way, she was excited to have me around. I'm socially awkward, while my husband is the extrovert, so small talk is hard for me. I did do my best with some adult beverages to help, but I still struggle. I'd like to mention that husband lived with mother-in-law during that time, as she begged him to move back in with her to help her with her finances. He had the job we met at since he was 18 years old and made great money. He paid her a monthly rent of $800 a month, along with buying all groceries, paying for his auto insurance, phone, both on mother-in-law's plans. After some time, my husband moved in with me to my apartment. Long story short, my landlord didn't like that he was there, threatening to increase the rent if he stayed. So being young and dumb, we decided to look for other places. My husband had 2 houses in his name from a generational home passed down from his great-great-grandfather on his mother's side. We went to mother-in-law and stepfather-in-law, we'll call Manny, asking if we could move into one of those houses since mother-in-law was renting them out. Wait, so they were owned by your husband, but your mother-in-law was, or your boyfriend at the time, husband, whatever. Wait, my husband had 2 houses. So they were his, but she was the one renting them out? Okay. They basically told us no, even though husband's name was on those houses. Not wanting to overstep boundaries, I didn't intervene, but I began to have suspicions that mother-in-law was not as pleasant as I originally thought. So they're collecting rents. Is your husband having to pay taxes on the money they're receiving because the home's under his name? Are they paying the property taxes? Like, what is going on? Because of this, husband and I decided that we were going to buy a home. While looking for homes, my husband wakes up one morning, scrolling on Facebook as one does on the toilet, only to come out bawling. His childhood dog had died the night before, and instead of anyone telling him, his mom posted it on Facebook. He found out on Facebook. I will admit, I went a little wild and called out mother-in-law through Facebook Messenger and called her out in the comments of the post. I said some nasty things, which I apologize for later, but commented, "Crazy how you had time to make this post, but you couldn't be bothered to tell your son?" Since then, I've not had any contact directly with mother-in-law. We bought our house, we moved in, and dealt with some other issues, but didn't really think much of her. I had a mental health and addiction intervention, going to therapy and getting help. I became sober, which I still am to this day, and worked on bettering myself for husband, as he stuck with me throughout it all. Then we found out we were pregnant. It was not planned, and we were still dating. Just moved into our home, and we were only together 7 months at this point. Yes, I know we moved fast, but it felt like a lifetime. I had a horrible pregnancy with prenatal depression and anxiety that left me unable to leave the bed. Combined with my previous miscarriages and hostile uterus, oh God, I hate that term, as my OB liked to call it, we were worried our baby wouldn't make it. To our delight, we made it past the danger zone and began telling people. We didn't tell mother-in-law, but let Grammy, mother-in-law's mother, tell her. That began the first message, beratement. Mother-in-law called husband every name under the sun while guilt-tripping him and victimizing herself. She brought up the dead dog and pulled every move to get husband to console her or whatever she wanted. He ignored her. We moved on. Because of my pregnancy and threats from work, I had to quit my job and found one that paid less. It was a struggle as we now began to flounder financially, especially when it came to the mortgage. Still, we were managing and husband took some overtime shifts at work. It was during one of these overtime shifts that mother-in-law texted him randomly out of the blue about how horrible of a son he was, a failure he'd be as a father, and how he should have been terminated before born. What a bitch. She went on for multiple long book-like texts. Husband sending me, oh fuck, I can't even get past that. I am sorry. Any uterus out there that tells their progeny that they should have been aborted should be fucking shot. That is absolutely just horrendous to say to anybody. Nobody gets to pick and choose to be born. Do you know how much it hurts to hear the person that birthed you tell you they wish they would have ended you? OP, your mother-in-law is a big ass see you next Tuesday. Fuck her. And go hug your husband. Oh my God, what a bitch. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, but I'm sorry for coming off like that. But fuck her. She went on for multiple long book-like texts. Husband sending me each one as I was at home. I ended up sending them to Grammy, who managed to tell mother-in-law to stop. The damage was done, however, and the man who barely cried over anything and liked to think was macho for not having emotions had a full-blown panic attack when he got home. I had to force him in a cold shower with our clothes on as I held him because he was on the verge of hyperventilating. I was completely anti-mother-in-law at this point, but I knew it would ultimately be his decision to cut her off. Our gender reveal, we did not invite her. We found out we were having a little boy, even though we both wanted a girl and were so excited. Everyone else was as well, but we did not hear from her at all in the months following. We were happy, preparing for our baby boy, and had some sort of financial stability finally. At this point, we'd calmed down from what mother-in-law did, and I wanted our son to have a grandma in some sense of the word. Lady, you got more grace than I do. After the shit she'd already pulled and what she said to her son, there's no way in hell I'd let that liquor anywhere near my babies. My stepdad never remarried or dated after my mom, and my bio dad lived in another state, at least 14 hours away from us with his girlfriend. Mother-in-law was the only one close by. We offered a hand and invited her to the baby shower. Brother-in-law one said that mother-in-law was too emotional to show up, but brother-in-law, we'll call James, he's coming later as a character, said mother-in-law and Manny were out buying a motorcycle instead. This hurt me and husband more than imaginable, making us put up our guard with her again.